Xbox came out 2000, what, 2002 or something like that. Fuck Xbox.
It came from Xbox Live.
Exactly, it came from Xbox Live.
Hey, the Xbox box is big enough to live in.
Hit it with the walkie. It came from Xbox Live. Exactly. Bum ass Xbox. Don't ever in your life come in around me with
What you do the stuff we couldn't air.
No, you shouldn't. The fact that there's out there somewhere the man who gives new meaning to the phrase auto-erotica is terrifying enough.
Yes, please, Xbox Live users, refrain from making love to your Honda Civic.
Now we end tonight with an answer to one of your burning questions.
What happened to Corey Haim? That guy was great in the 80s.
Actually, this is a technical question about video game design that many of you have asked, and since we aren't exactly programmers, we called in an expert to answer your question about bitmaps.
Bitmaps.
Bitmaps are scaled versions of a unique texture used in a rendered frame.
See, yo, they should teach us. Yo, this is why I'm gonna buy this shit.
Polygon increases, scaled down bitmaps are used to achieve more realistic effects. Likewise, as the textured polygon's distance decreases with respect to the viewpoint, higher resolution bitmaps are used to. Nip is short for the Latin phrase multum in parvo, which means many things in a small place.
Bitmaps.
It's all very clear to me now. Okay, if you're unclear on anything game-related, catch The Road to G4, premiering this Friday night at 8 o'clock Eastern Time on G4 TV.
Euphoria, the award show for gamers, is presented by EB Games and G, and you can watch it.
Yo, they made a fuck. Yo,
Now, if you want an instant notification now, you can always go to our website.
Yes, go to the website, that's g4.tv.com/xplay. That's the name of the show.
Yes, that's very good. That's why it's there. And then you'll find some views of the games we talked about this week.
And video and stuff. Pictures, you can look at you can learn a lot about it. So go there now and go take stupid stuff on Xbox Live. Take it.
Yes, love it.
It's great up there.
Why the fuck am I slow?
This changes nothing.
Okay, bitch ass nigga.
Was a time when the Amiga 500 was beginning to take off at a rapid rate, and where the powerful technology was finally being seen for the powerhouse that it was.
I am the Commodore Amiga 500. I am the ultimate home video game machine. But it's desktop publishing that really turns me on.
Given its superiority to almost everything else on the market, especially in terms of graphical power, it's easy to forget that the technology was now 4 years old. And this slow start meant the Amiga still had an uphill struggle on its hands. Gaming was where the money lay, and the Amiga 500 Batman Pack, launched by Commodore UK, had positioned the 500 as the must-have computer for that purpose. Most 500 packs before this point required the consumer to purchase the additional RF modulator, but given that the vast majority of households would hook machines directly into their televisions, just like their Spectrums and Commodore 64s, this inclusion was pivotal. The graphics and sound were flying high above the existing 8-bit competition, and the Amiga was leading the way among reviewers, the press and exhibitions. As 1990 ticked over, the Amiga 500 was shifting some 300,000 units a year throughout Europe. Over in the States, things weren't quite so rosy, with the sales of the 500 a fraction of their UK counterparts. Commodore of America hadn't positioned the 500 as a gaming machine quite as well, in part due to lackluster advertising, in part due to uncompelling bundles, and in part due to the popularity of the NES for gaming and the IBM PC compatibles for other computing tasks. In Europe, the Amiga was a natural progression in a world filled with ZX Spectrums, Commodore 64s, and a submissive array of 8-bit consoles. IBM compatibles over here were seen almost exclusively as professional machines, with a prohibitive cost, whilst at £499, the 500 was now affordable for a significant portion of the middle and working class. The Amiga 2000, on the other hand, was faring reasonably well in the States, working its way into professional graphics use for businesses, production houses, education and scientific, which was simply a 2000 fitted with a 68020 or 68030 accelerator card. Still, although it was a fairly impressive machine at launch, it was still not enough for many new applications, as limitations of the design meant that although the machine could be upgraded to 9 megabytes of total RAM, the custom chipset could only directly access 512 kilobytes. Jay Miner has even expressed his
112 kilobytes,
over the somewhat pitiful improvement the 2000 had actually brought, making it known that he and consumers expected and needed more. Before leaving Commodore, and almost immediately after the launch of the Amiga 1000, Jay had reportedly begun work on a successor to the already revolutionary chipset. This successor was codenamed Ranger, and although it's widely reported to have been a brand new 32-bit architecture based around the Motorola 68010 or even 68020 CPU, it was more of an increase to the expansion capabilities of the original chipset. These were really the
basically, this shit was like a fucking patch. It was like the modern, like the at the time or whatever for a patch.
They were some 4 years prior. With the original chipset limited to accessing just 512 kilobytes of chip RAM, later iterations for the Amiga 500 and 2000 introduced the Fat Agnes chip, which allowed an additional 512 kilobyte pseudo-fast RAM upgrade that could only be accessed by the 68000 CPU, but crucially only via the congested Agnes bus. Because of this, it modeled in 1989 from revision 6 onwards, although some of these machines require jumper changes to fully enable this. These changes, sometimes referred to as the half-enhanced chipset, were made unbeknownst to the average consumer at the time, and were followed by a range of minor board revisions culminating in the arrival of the full enhanced chipset in 1990. Although an incremental update, this chipset is really the official second generation of Amigas. Developed at Commodore's American headquarters, the ECS integrated the Super Agnes, capable of now addressing 2 megabytes of chip RAM and a high-res Denise chip. To go with the additional RAM space, the Glitter could copy display regions larger than 1024 by 1024 pixels in one operation, and display sprites in border regions. Denise could now pump out a productivity resolution of 640 by 480 without interlation, akin to the standard IBM PC-compatible VGA resolution which Windows 3, released in May 1990, was able to run at. In addition, super high-res at 1280 by 256 or 1280 by 512 interlaced was now possible along with other custom scan rates. These were all welcome additions, which particularly helped the productivity and graphics applications Commodore of America was still keen on pursuing, but did little to benefit the games market currently booming over in Europe. Compatibility-wise, ECS was intended to be fully compatible with OCS software, but the changes did mean that the odd title refused to run. And given that some revision 8A enhanced chipsets made it into the 1991 production run 500 models, it caused a degree of headache for the odd consumer, unaware of the changes lurking under the hood. The first official machine to integrate the technology was the Amiga 3000. Released in June 1990, the 3000 was the culmination of work by David Haney, who had begun work on the Zorro 3 expansion bus architecture in 1989.